So good evening. Welcome to our first AGATE webinar. It is Tuesday, November the 1st, and you're in for a treat tonight. If you're joining us from wherever in Arkansas, it does not matter. You don't have to worry about handling any of the video or audio because we're doing the Zoom webinar feature. So you can sit back and relax and enjoy tonight's presentation with Dr. Robin Lasey, the director of the Arkansas Governor's School. She's starting her 4th year as director, so she's got lots of experience and anecdotes that she can share, plus any advice and tips for those that are interested in applying for this coming summer, July 2023. If you have any questions, we want to encourage you to ask at any point. I'll be moderating, as well as Brenda Rush, our education chair of Arkansans for Gifted and Talented Education. And if you have any follow-up questions, we're happy to do so as well. You can send an email to us at webmaster@giftedarkansas.org. But we want to encourage you to ask questions using the Q&A box tonight, or the comment box or the chat box as well. We'll be checking that throughout the presentation. And if you are watching us live on Facebook, we will also be checking the comment sections there, because we want to make sure we get all of your questions and concerns, any things that you might have burning tonight. We want to answer any of those questions with our expert, Dr. Robin Lasey. So with that being said, we are recording tonight as well. So if you have to jump off or hop off for whatever reason, we will have this posted on our website, or you can ask your gifted and talented teacher, your counselors, anybody in your high schools throughout Arkansas. But also, I'm sure Dr. Lasey will be sharing out her contact information as well, because she is the one that you want to make sure you get in contact with for any of the questions for Arkansas Governor's School 2023. So with that being said, Dr. Lasey, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kick off tonight's presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. So yes, as he said, my name is Dr. Robin Lasey. I'm from Arkansas Tech University. And so I'm going to correct just a little bit. We've done 4 years of Arkansas Governor's School here at Arkansas Tech. So we are starting our 5th summer going on. So I'm going to share my screen, and there we go. We'll start the presentation. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, just going to give you an overview of Arkansas Governor's School this year. It will be hosted from July 5th to August 1st. So that is a 4-week program. And in this presentation this year, I allowed my students from this past summer to kind of give me, answer some questions, and to give me some quotes that they were willing that I share with others. And so I kind of I feel like, our best advocates for Arkansas Governor's School, the best people that you can get information from, are from the students that have attended in the past. So Sydney Stewart from Conway High School said about Arkansas Governor's School, those 4 weeks will be the best 4 weeks of your entire life. You'll end up wanting to stay for longer than those 4 weeks if you take the time to apply and try it out. Don't let anything stop you if you really want the experience. It is quite literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I wouldn't be who I am now without it. So sometimes students think 4 weeks is a really long time. They don't want to give up that time in their summer. I'm telling you, students that have attended have been glad that they've done it. All right, and have had a really great experience. So, consider applying. So what is our AGS? What is Arkansas Governor's School? So it is a 4-week program. It's a residential program. So you live on campus for those 4 weeks. It's generally for what we say gifted and talented. You don't have to be identified as gifted and talented. You just need to be nominated by your students, your school. It is free. So it doesn't cost you anything to attend AGS. So there are state funds that provide for your tuition, your room, your board, and your instructional materials during those 4 weeks. So the only thing that you'll have to do is get yourself here. All right. But once you're here, the rest of it is free. We do accept up to 400 students for those 4 weeks. So, and that is for students that are currently in their junior year, and it's next summer in between your junior and senior years when you attend. So, students that are graduating early are not eligible. You have to be going back and attending your senior year in high school after the program. All right. And during that time, students participate in classes, lectures, movies, activities, field trips, etc. So there's a variety of things that you're doing during that time. So we have several areas. We have 3 separate areas of the classes, the course material that you do while you're there. This is not high school classes. It's something completely different from that. It is also not college classes. It's not, any of the classes that you would typically take in college or high school. So this is something, this is an enrichment. This is something different. This is learning, going beyond what you would do in the classroom, a traditional classroom, and learning for the sake of learning, and really kind of, exploring some areas that you might not have been able to explore normally. So our first area that we look at is what we call Area 1. This is your main focus during Governor School. This is, you choose what content area you're most interested in, and you apply in that content area. And this is the area that you will spend the majority of your class time in. All right, so you spend about 2.5 hours a day in this Area 1 class. And so you can choose to apply and attend in choral music, development engineering, drama, English language arts, instrumental music, mathematics, natural science, social science, or visual arts. So those are the 9 different areas that we accept that you may attend classes in. And again, there's a whole variety of things that you will do in those different areas. Exactly what you do depends on the faculty members that are hired to teach those different areas, and also based on the interest level of the students that are there. So sometimes faculty will adjust kind of what they're doing based on what the students are wanting to explore more. All right. So in addition to that, I will mention that if you are, if you want to apply in a second choice, so, where you get accepted based on your application in that area. If you want to increase your chances of getting accepted, you can apply in a second choice. However, the committees look at those applications separately and will accept you in either your first choice or your second choice, or both. They might accept you in both, and then we would put you in your first choice. However, it's possible if you apply, in a second choice as well. Let's say you apply, you want to do development engineering, but then you say, okay, well, math is similar, and so I'm going to go ahead and apply in math as my second choice. You may not get accepted based on, who else, what is the pool of applicants for development engineering. You may not get accepted in development engineering, but you may get accepted in math. If you get accepted in math and not developmental engineering, you would attend in math and you would take classes in your math area. So you can't switch and change, you have to go in the area at which you're accepted in.
We do have a couple of questions. The first one says, it's from a student, says, I make very good grades, but my ACT scores weren't amazing. Will that hurt my chances into getting into Arkansas Governor School?
So the selection committee will look at a whole variety of areas, and one thing isn't going to keep you from getting in, and one thing isn't going to make, guarantee that you get in as well, right? So the committee is going to look at it holistically. So you're going to, as part of the application process, you're going to write some essays. You're going to, your school is going to provide your grades and your test scores, and then you'll also, what other kind of activities have you been involved with that show kind of your commitment to a task, what awards and things that you've received as well. You also have a teacher recommendation so there's a whole bunch of things that the committee is going to look at, and they're going to look at it holistically. Like I said, if your ACT score is low, but the rest of it shows that you've got the aptitude and the desire and the maturity level to take advantage of the opportunity that's presented to you, then you have a good chance of getting accepted.
Excellent. And a question I keep getting from students is, can you explain what developmental or development engineering is?
I sure can. So it's kind of funny when this was one of the co-director from last year had came up with development engineering when we were coming up with there's 8 traditional content areas that are part of the legislation, and then the university that hosts chooses a 9th area, specialty area, and we chose development engineering. And when I said something to talk to an engineering faculty about what development engineering is, and that it's, you know, looking at how engineers work to help communities and, you know, build things that are, you know, community development type stuff is really what that kind of, the engineer that I talked to is like, well, that's what all engineers do. so I'm not sure. You know, like I said, our focus that we put in this 3-year cycle was kind of focusing on community and community development kind of stuff. And so that was where our focus on the engineering, we added kind of, you know, understanding that the development engineering was not one specific type of mechanical or electrical or civil or that kind of stuff, but more a holistic, how does engineering affect community development kind of stuff. And so that's kind of where that came from. But, you know, again, that's going to, exactly what you do in that is going to be determined on your interests, you know, kind of how you want to kind of focus that development engineering. All right. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, I think so. And there's more information on the website too about some of the breakdown. And we had a question from a teacher that asks, will Arkansas Government School have a graphic design oriented course for students to partake in? If not, is that something that could be added possibly in the future?
So our visual arts this last year, we actually added a second visual arts instructor, so that the students that do visual arts actually rotate between 2 different instructors. And one of them is more of the traditional type of art that we think about. And then the second one is actually looks at more at a graphic design kind of situation. So we've actually incorporated that a little bit into visual art. So it's not something, it's not going to be, graphic arts will not be its own, you know, content area within the next couple of years, because we've already submitted the application and the grant proposal for these 3-year cycle and put development engineering in there. It could be possibly something that, you know, was its own in the future. But I think, like I said, I feel pretty good about what we did last year in terms of incorporating both traditional art and graphic design type of stuff in the visual arts program. So, okay. I'm going to move on to talk a little bit about the other 2 areas of classes that students take. One is Area 2, and all students are going to take Area 2. So this is not an area that you apply for. This is, you know, like I said, all students are participating in Area 2 classes. And Area 2 classes are really kind of like philosophy classes, right? Philosophy and ethics, and we call that epistemology. So it's the, you know, how do you know what you know, or the nature of knowledge. So, and in these classes, you attend an Area 2 class 1 hour each day, and you're going to attend that class with students from a variety of different content specialties and backgrounds. So students from all over the state, all different content areas are mixed together within these Area 2 classes to talk about, you know, what is it that you know and how do you know it, all right? So essentially philosophy. The Area 3 is very similar. Again, these are all students attend classes in Area 3, and it's from a variety of different content specialties and backgrounds that you're going to take this classes with. It's 1 hour each day. And this is now, okay, so this one's more about personal and social development. How do I feel about what I learned in Area 2, how to think, all right? What do I feel about that is what I learned in Area 3, all right? And then, you know, what does that mean in terms of, you know, my own personal development, but then also how do I do that? You know, how do I use that information to help society, you know, in looking at it in terms of civic engagement and community development. All right. So those are the 3 different areas of classes. Again, Area 1 is that content specific. Students are going to choose what content area they want to apply in, and that is the area that they will attend classes in. Area 2 and Area 3 are the same for all students. They attend those classes, and these are again determined by the faculty as exactly kind of what the curriculum is for each one of those 2 different areas. All right. In addition to classes, we have a variety of different other activities. We have what we call 410, 610 presentations. These are lectures from experts in the area that have a variety of different topics that they talk about. sometimes very academic oriented, looking at the history of Winthrop Rockefeller, or looking at economic development, or a couple of them did stuff on CRISPR, or there was one that, because of the COVID pandemic, we kind of looked at the COVID vaccines and kind of how those worked. So a whole different variety of academic areas, and some of them are a little bit more lighthearted and fun. So one of the RAs did a presentation on the history of boy bands through the years, kind of thing. So like I said, those presentations can take a variety of different topics. They are optional for students, and they can choose kind of which what interests them and which ones they want to attend. We also have what we call impact speakers and impact movies. These are ones that all students, they are not optional, all students attend these speakers and movies. These are the speakers in particular. We bring in speakers from around the country to talk to the students about a variety of different topics. So last year we had somebody from Feast, which is in Los Angeles, which is a community program that actually looks at food insecurities and how they can actually do education for their participants, and help them, teach them how to make healthy foods and make healthy food choices, and how to grow their own food, so really using a variety of different formats to helping with that food insecurity kind of thing. We also had Jacqueline Corin speak last year. She was a survivor of the Parkland high school shooting. She talked about her experience in that Parkland High School, and kind of how she used her experience to then do some community activism from that experience. We had Phil Platt came, and he's an astronomer. He talked about James Webb telescope and kind of the information that they could get from there. And then pretty much every year, the governor, whoever is the governor at the time, comes and speaks. So Asa Hutchinson came last summer and spoke to the students as well. So those are some examples of impact speakers. And then we talk about those speakers and those movies in the Area 2 and Area 3 classes. We also do small group activities that look at things like leadership and teamwork. They have all kinds of activities, games, trivia, open mic, socials, crafts, variety of things, and some Shakespeare theater, Crystal Bridges, field trips. So another quote here from Brooklyn Prince: "My favorite part of AGS was the social experience. I think when people hear the phrase governor's school, they assume the program is solely about classes and curriculum. However, it's genuinely so much more. AGS offers so many social experiences, allowing you to create friends that will last you far past graduation." So we hear this over and over and over again from students. So as a faculty member, I'm hopeful that, that you really get a lot of content from these courses, when in reality, the students are, the thing that they like the best about governor's school is the friends that they make, right? So that they make lifelong friends. And I've heard multiple stories of people that have met friends that they know 10, 20, 30 years later, they're still friends with the people that they met in governor's school. So that's really kind of that's one of the best things. Questions?
Yeah, I have two. One on Facebook that asked, are the 410, 610, or some of the evening activities, are those required to attend?
So the impact speakers and movies are required. The 410, 610 are optional, though. Like I said, one of the things that we're looking for in that application is students that are mature enough that they will take advantage of the opportunities that are given to them. So even some of these things that are optional, like I said, part of the reason they're optional is because there's multiple things that you can pick from, rather than just choosing not to attend any of those other kind of things. Again, they are optional. Sometimes people just need a break, and we get that. Sometimes I just need a break too, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But we hope that you will take advantage of some of those optional opportunities as well.
And I think this may be a question from a student asking, what are the classes or group sizes like at governor's school?
Generally, like I said, our class sizes are, for the content areas, no more than 25 in a class. Most of the time they're smaller than that. So the ones that the big areas, the ones that we have the most amount of students in are the social science and the natural science. So those class sizes might be closer, might be close to 25 in a class. The other areas that don't have as many people may be closer to 20 or 15 to 20 in a class. The area 2 and area 3 classes have about 20 students per class in them. So those are our class sizes. While you're at Governor School, like I said, everything is free. We provide the food for you. It is a cafeteria, so it does give you, it is all you can eat, and it does give you some amount of choice, but it is cafeteria food. It is a college course. It's, as I've been told several times, it's better than some of the high school cafeterias, depending on how good your high school cafeteria is. But it is, like I said, it's not your mom's home cooking. You can't choose whatever you want kind of thing. It's not a restaurant. It is a cafeteria, but it's a decent college cafeteria. So that is where the food is offered. We also have what's called Basel Textionary. It's kind of where our students hang out during the day and through the evening. In Basel Textionary, there's also a couple other food options, such as there is which is a sub sandwich place. There is Slim Chickens, which is the chicken strips. And then there's I think Jerry's Diner, which has like hamburgers. That food does not come free with your AGS. So if you want something other than the cafeteria, if you want to eat at one of those locations, you do have to pay for that yourself. So if you are very picky and you think you're not going to want to eat in the cafeteria all the time, you will want to bring some money to be able to eat at one of those other locations. Students are not allowed to leave campus. So you are not allowed to have a vehicle while you're on campus. I have 400 students that I'm responsible for. I need to make sure that you're staying safe. So if you want food from off campus, we do allow DoorDash delivery to the AGS office where you can get food from there, but you are not allowed to leave campus. So those are, like I said, there's some different food options. Students live in the residence halls. The 2 residence halls that we use for AGS students is Nutt Residence Hall and M Street Residence Hall. So Nutt Residence Hall is where we host the female students. Those are suite style rooms. So there will be 2 to 3 rooms per suite. And in each one of those rooms, you'll have a roommate. So there'll be 2 people per room. And like I said, 2 to 3 rooms per suite. And then the restroom, the bathroom is in that suite. So you don't have to leave. You don't have to go out in the hallway to use the restroom, but you will share that restroom with like you said, maybe 2 to 6 other people in that suite. The M Street Residence Hall is where we host the male students. Those are, again, rooms. Those are rooms that have 2 people per room, so you'll have a roommate. The restrooms on those are what I call semi-private. You'll have to go out in the hallway to get to the restroom, but once you're in there, you're by yourself. So you shut the door and and you're in that restroom and that shower by yourself. It's not a community shower. It is what we call semi-private. We have a variety of different recreational facilities. We do have a fitness facility that is open limited hours throughout the day. So generally our fitness facility is open because I have to staff it for specifically for Governor School students. It is open about 2 hours per day, Monday through Friday. All right. So like I said, it does have very limited hours, but it does have some. We do have that available occasionally. And then there's the Hammock Grove is always quite popular. We have hammocks that students can check out, and a variety of sports games that they can check out as well, or board games or craft supplies. So like I said, there are a variety of recreational facilities available for students. There's sand volleyball courts, basketball court, soccer places. So a variety of different opportunities for students to hang out with friends and do some additional things. Like I said, in addition to that, we have other activities. Crafting seems to be quite popular. We've done paint wars in the past. The cleaning crew doesn't like it very much when we do the paint wars, because then the students, leave a lot of paint in the drains when they're cleaning up from that. But like I said, we do have a variety of different other activities that students can be involved with as well. Just as a reminder, as I said before, Arkansas Governor's School, July 5th through August 1st. We do have a website that has all of the information that you might need available there, and the application, the process for applying. Again, here's another quote from one of our students. This is Hannah Pierce from Bay High School. I learned that it's okay to not be the smartest person in the room, and it's okay to have questions. There's always going to be scenarios where you aren't the most knowledgeable person in the room, but that doesn't make you any less smart. So basically, Hannah's saying this is a really good experience for you to, this is to experience something new. You may have always been used to being the smartest person. Now you're in with 400 of the smartest people in the state of Arkansas. And so you're a lot of people say, I met my people, all right? So I met people that are like me and want to learn the way I want to learn. And so that's a really fun experience. It's a new experience to see. So if you're interested in applying, the first thing you need to do is see your counselor or your GT teacher. All right. You cannot start the application process on your own. You have to go through your school to get nominated. Once you're nominated, then once they nominate you, they'll enter you into our application portal. And then you'll get an email from that application portal that'll give you a link to start that application process. You cannot start that on your own. There is no link on the webpage that will allow you to start that application on your own. So if you're interested, go see your counselor, go see your GT teacher, tell them you're interested so that they can start that nomination process. When you're ready to do the application, here's the things, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit before. So the things that you're going to have to do the application: a list of achievements, awards, or accomplishments that you've got, a description of your school or community projects that demonstrate a commitment to a task. There's 2 essays, one general, one content related, and I can show you in a few minutes the link so you can actually see what those questions are ahead of time before you start the application process. I highly recommend you write those essays, you let somebody else read them, before you submit them, so that you're getting some feedback and you're getting some help in making sure that you're actually answering the questions that are there, because those are one of the big pieces that the selection committees are going to look at to kind of help determine whether you're accepted to governor's school. There'll also be a teacher recommendation. So kind of identify, a teacher that knows you well and knows your aptitude and knows your, ability to, complete tasks and that sort of stuff. It will need to be a teacher from the content area that you're applying in. If you're applying in math, you need a math teacher to do that teacher recommendation. If you want to apply in English, you'll need an English teacher to do that recommendation. So, kind of think about, what teacher knows your aptitude in those different content areas. If you're doing one of the arts areas, so if you're doing choral music or instrumental music or visual arts, then you'll also need to have a audition video that you post on an unlisted link on YouTube that allows the selection committee to kind of see, gives them some indication of your ability in those different arts areas. Drama is the other one. So if you have questions, you can always email ags@atu.edu. To give you to answer questions as well. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to give Dustin just a chance to tell me if there's any questions right now, and if not, then I'll go ahead and show the web page as well as the other thing.
Yeah, that's great. Questions that we keep getting from students, especially when we've done these presentations in Northwest Arkansas, would be visitors, weekends. What does it look like to be a student on the weekend or have family or friends come visit you?
Good question. So on the website, there is kind of a traditional schedule for the day, or typical daily schedule. So you can kind of see during the week, kind of when you're in classes, when some of those lectures are, when social events. I will tell you, so like I said, it's a 4-week program, and you're there the entire 4 weeks. However, that being said, we do allow students to check out on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So not overnight, but you are allowed to check out during the day on Sundays. And as long as you're back by 6 o'clock p.m. And so that's, other than that, visitors generally not. Again, you know, if you have visitors, they can come on that Sunday between 8 and 6. All right. Other than that, like I said, and part of that has to do with the fact that not only is it the content that's important, it's that community that we're developing, right? So it's those relationships that you're developing with other students and with the faculty. And so we want students to be all in during the time that they're here and not distracted by other things. So that's really kind of, like I said, that's the one time that you can leave and kind of take a break is on Sundays 8 to 6.
Yeah, great question or great answer. Another question we keep getting would be about roommates. Do students get to pick their roommates? When are those decided? Can they communicate with those roommates before they get to governor's school to kind of plan, you know, decorations and things like that?
Great question. I always get that over and over and over again. And so the answer is, again, part of the purpose of this is a community and for you to meet people that you're not familiar with. All right. And so to meet people from across the state that have different backgrounds and from, you know, have different, you know, religious, you know, ideals and, you know, all kinds of different political views, whatever. Right. So we want you to meet somebody new. So the answer to can you choose your roommate is no. So I choose roommates actually, and I look at it based on, like I said, I try and, you know, find somebody that's from a different kind of background than you, definitely a different school that I'm going to put in a roommate together. So what we generally try and do is application. I try to, by March 15th is generally when you're going to know whether you're accepted to governor's school. And then May 1st is the deadline for letting us know whether you will attend or not. So, you know, if you get accepted on March 15th, I need to know by May 1st whether you will plan on attending. And then once we have that, then I start working on roommates. And so hopefully by, you know, first part of June, I'll be able to tell people, maybe sometimes it's middle of June, you know, but it definitely within a couple weeks before, I'll be able to tell students who their roommates are. And so that you can start communicating with each other. And not just your roommate, but within your community group. So others that are living, you know, nearby you on the same floor, and the RA that is the, you know, resident assistant that's going to be kind of your mentor, your guide during this session as well, so that you can kind of, you know, communicate with them ahead of time. Talk about, like you said, you know, who's bringing the microwave or who's bringing the refrigerator, or, you know, whatever it is. So like I said, it is interesting to me. You're only there for 4 weeks. You don't need to move everything in, you know, but I get that, you know. I think a mini fridge is helpful because a lot of people like to have something, you know, keep a beverage in the mini fridge or snacks or something like that. So people do like to bring mini fridges. Microwaves are not needed because we have those on the floor. But you know, who's going to, you know, bring what is sometimes, like I said, a useful thing to discuss. So,
and the only other question I have, and I want to encourage those watching on Facebook and on live on the webinar, feel free to utilize the Q&A box. We're answering all your questions that I see popping in from whatever platform and wherever you are. There are no dumb questions. Now's your chance to ask Dr. Lasey any questions about governor's school. The one question I keep getting from students is, what about bedtime? You know, I know this may sound immature or sophomoric, but students are curious about, are bedtimes enforced? Do the RAs come and do like room checks, things like that, just routine things that maybe kids are not familiar with the collegial environment?
Yeah. So again, while you are on a college campus, you don't quite have as many freedoms as a college student might, because you are under 18. Most of the students are under 18, and I personally am responsible for the safety of all 400. So I need to make sure that you are safe and that you are in your room, by a certain time. So yes, there are lights out. We do room checks every night just to make sure that the students are in their room by the time that's required. And generally on weeknights, that's I can't remember exactly. It depends on the RAs kind of at the of that year, kind of exactly what it is. But I believe it's like 10 or 10:30 is generally when the room checks are, lights out kind of thing, that you have to be in your room by. And then, students that can't follow the rules are asked to leave. To be perfectly honest with you. So you do have some freedoms, but we do have some rules to help keep you safe. And so that's why, like I said, I need students that are mature enough to follow those rules and to take advantage of the situation that's there, but are going to do it in a safe manner such that I can, be guaranteed that you and the other people that are here as well are staying safe. And so that is one of the rules, that you have to be there, in your room each night by, like I said, 10 or 10:30. And I think weekends they go a little bit later. But yes, there is a curfew that you need to be there and you're in your room all night, all right, and not leaving. So
yeah, great to know, because we're dealing with kids from all across the state. I'm sure parents are also concerned about sending off their kids to kind of like a pre-college experience that are 4 weeks long.
So yeah, it's like I always like to say, so there is a little bit more freedom, right, than being in high school kind of thing, so you are on a college campus. There's some choices. You want to make some good choices while you're here, and so there are some freedoms, but it is, again, it's not the same as, it's kind of that in between, in between high school and college. So just kind of a little bit more freedom, but still, maybe not quite as much as you would get when you get to college. So
I think we're caught up for now with questions, because I know you want to show the website.
Yeah, I want to show
a great resource. Okay.
I want to show the website as well, so that students know. Where is that? Maybe I know what I need to do. Sorry, hold on. Let me escape out of. There we go. Sorry, I had to escape out of my PowerPoint so that it'll allow me to share.
And I see lots of students and teachers from all across the state I recognize already. Feel free to ask your questions. You can email them privately or ask them anonymously if you'd like to now. But again, there are no dumb questions. This is all about helping you get ready to apply and attend Governor School in 2023.
Dustin, are you seeing the webpage?
Yes. Yeah, we see it.
Okay. All right. So here is the Arkansas Governor School webpage. I do want to highlight a couple things. So you can click students or school personnel, counselors, teachers can click directly on application information. But I also wanted to highlight this little, what we call the hamburger menu up here. So there's these 3 lines. That's going to be where you can find pretty much links to anything that you might want. All right. So there is, you can see a variety of different information about AGS. You can see information about the application process. You can also see things like leave of absence policy, the weekly schedule, the sample weekly schedule, a variety of other things. And then for our RAs that are applying, faculty that are applying, there's information there as well. So I did I want to highlight that hamburger menu to show that that's where you can get some information.
We did have a question pop in, I believe, from a teacher that asked about schedules. Do schedules come out, or when do schedules come out for Governor School students?
So generally what those students will get their schedule when they arrive on that first Sunday. So we generally pass out schedules each week to the students once they're here. So I can show you kind of a sample weekly. This kind of is you can see, they're in you're in area 1 classes in the morning, and then the area 2 or area 3 classes in the afternoon, and then some of the talks, and then you can see some different activities that happen on weekends as well.
Could you zoom in on that? I think it's a little hard to see.
I can.
And it's on the website too. For
it's on the website. Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah. So they have their area 1, then their lunch every day, and then it's area 2, area 3.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then like that 4:10, 6:10, they're called that because they occur at 4:10 and 6:10. I've had a student tell me that dinner at 5 was too early. So we are looking at, maybe changing the schedule up a little bit to accommodate, like, I think for most people, dinner is at 5 is early, but that's kind of historically what had been done. So we are looking at possibly modifying this slightly, but it gives you an idea, kind of, like I said, you're in classes during the day. Evenings are some of those movies or speakers, and then some social events. And, on Saturday, we do things like, team building activities or, leadership type stuff. Sundays are, like I said, are the days that you're able to check out. Those that stay, we do provide transportation to church as well for those that might, for local churches, for those that might be interested in attending. So that kind of, like I said, gives you a little bit about some of the daily schedule in that hamburger menu that you can find a lot of information. Like I said, application information for students, you can, click on that and you can actually see information about what you need to do to get nominated, what kind of documentation. So I told you that I would show you where the information about the 2 essays that you have to write. So it's under this collect documentation. If you click on student essay, it actually tells you, and I know it's hard to see, I know it's small because of the situation, but you'll want to look at it on your own on the web page, kind of what that essay question is. It also, for the content area, also gives you information about what kind of you would include in that area 1 essay information as well. If you are doing a second choice, so you're doing, trying to do 2 choices of content areas, then you will do 2 content area essays. So if you're doing a first and a second choice of content area, you'll actually write a total of 3 essays. One is the student essay, which is the general, that's the same for all students. And then you'll do a content area essay for each content area that you're applying in. So that kind of, like I said, gives you that information for teachers or counselors that are here. If you go to, like I said, that hamburger menu and go to the school nomination instructions, it gives you the same kind of thing, information about if you're a first-time nominator or if you've nominated before and returning, kind of that information, the steps that you need to do to nominate students. I've also made videos that walk you through that process of how do you nominate students, how can you go back and review that and change their email if needed. Again, I like to mention, if you're a counselor or a teacher on here, we have had some school systems that block outside emails and block emails that come from, because this is an application system that, an application portal that does all this and sends the emails. And so sometimes those school email systems have firewalls that block them. My suggestion is, if you have a school system that, has some firewalls, it's probably going to get blocked. You probably want to, instead of using the school email for the student, you probably will want to use a personal email such as Gmail or Hotmail or iCloud or something, one of those other email systems for the student, because then they're less likely to get blocked. So like I said, that gives you some information about how to nominate students as well.
We do have a question. If a student has a pre-existing health condition, so for example, diabetes controlled or something else, how does that bear or have any bearing on their application process?
Has no bearing on their application process at all. So we are not going to look at your medical conditions, and have that have any bearing in the application, just the selection decision at all. However, once, if you are selected and you have a medical issue that needs to be monitored, we do have a health center here on campus that is open, 8 to 5 each day, that students are able to use. And if there are issues outside, outside of the regular work day, then we, you talk to your RA, and we can take you to the ER if needed to, or we can take you to an urgent care, whatever. But like I said, most of the time, most issues can be handled by the health center that's on campus, that is staffed with nurses, health professionals, a nurse practitioner, and has a doctor that's associated with it as well. So like I said, we are able to do that. If you have most of the time for, again, we have a little bit more kind of freedom if it's a medication that you can handle dispensing for yourself on your own, then I'm going to let you do that. All right, so you don't have to, I'm not going to make you check in and have all, not like an elementary where you have to turn in all of your medicine to the nurse, kind of ahead of time. As long as you can handle dispensing it on your own and do it appropriately, then you can keep that on your own. If it is a controlled substance that you need to take, then we may need to have it reside at the health center instead. But most medications are able to be dispensed by the student. So
great. Yeah, that was a question we just got. So great. Another question I keep getting regarding applications is like, and I've graded them, so I can feel free to say that if they do a second application, they need to make sure they still answer all the props of that application. Because a lot of times with second applications, they just do the bare minimum, and you could tell that it's their second one. It's like the redheaded stepchild that they don't really care about. They're like, no, you want to go and show some passion. But I think that's the big thing that I would and tell all of our students that are here. Make sure you don't procrastinate. So the deadlines, can you show us the deadlines on the website? Because that's the part students team. It doesn't matter where you are. They're super passionate. If you're here tonight, you're excited about it. You don't realize how fast those deadlines approach. So I see them on the website.
Yeah. I was trying to see how I make my thing bigger.
And so you're doing student webinars, is that correct, coming up?
Yeah, so there. Can you see that better now?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Sorry. So we have the application deadline is January 24th. So all of the students have to submit their stuff basically by 11:59 p.m. on the 24th. All right. So all materials are due. And that means also you have to submit. So there's the whole application, all of these pages that you're submitting the information. At the very end, you have to hit the submit button. All right. So that submits it. So we know that you've got a completed application, and it collects it there for the committee to look at. We're also allowing then a few extra days for then teachers to submit their recommendation, the schools to do the evaluation form and the test scores, to turn in the transcripts, that sort of stuff. So all information from both students and schools, teachers, must be submitted by February 8th. So that we can then compile it and give it to the selection committees that meet the end of February, first part of March, and make those choices so that I can get those results sent out to students by March 15th. I will be doing a student webinar on December 6th and December 8th. December 6th is in the evening, 6:30 p.m., where I will be answering questions, kind of going through that application process, answering any questions that students may have about the application process. I will also be doing another one during the day on the 8th at 10:30 a.m. So if schools want to, allow their students to participate in that webinar during the day on that Thursday, that you can do that as well. So like I said, one of our goals is really, we're getting students nominated, but I need the students to not just be nominated, but to actually complete that application and submit it. So you cannot get accepted if you don't complete the application. All right. And so one of the first step, is to submit that application, so that we can have the committee look at it and make decisions from the ones that are submitted. So I want to, like I said, give all information possible so that all the information you need so that you can make that application. And like you said, notice I'm doing it in December, because you don't want to be waiting until January 23rd to start your application, right? So that's that's before Christmas break. You're answering all your questions. Maybe you finish your essays and allow your parents or somebody to kind of look over them or whatever. So that when you come back from Christmas break, if you haven't already, you're submitting that, that application as quickly as possible after the first of the year. So you can make sure you're not, it is a computer system. Things happen. Don't wait to the last minute, and take a chance that something's not going to work right for you. So, and honestly, in the last couple of years, we've had a snowstorm around the deadline as well, so students have been out of school on that day before, so all kinds of things can happen. Don't wait to the last minute. All right, so make sure you're getting that application submitted way ahead of time. That also gives your teachers more time to submit their recommendations. So we send an email to the teachers. Once the student has submitted their application, we will then send it to the teacher that says, okay, now here's a link to complete the teacher recommendation. Basically, the teacher recommendation is answering some questions that allow that, about the student. That doesn't happen until the student submits their application. So the sooner you submit that application, the more time you have to allow the teacher to submit theirs as well. It's a good time for me to also mention for students, and I'll say it again during this student application webinar, check in with the teacher periodically. First of all, check with them ahead of time before you enter their name. Make sure that they're willing to write a recommendation for you, right? And then if they are, check with them periodically after you've submitted your application and say, hey, by the way, did you get a chance to submit my recommendation? Because we need that submitted by February 8th. All right. And sometimes teachers get busy. And so sometimes we need a reminder for that we're supposed to do something for you. So just, again, politely, all right, but politely remind them, to submit that teacher recommendation for you.
So a question I get all the time, and we've got a couple in the chat too. Let's say we find out we get accepted, and what's the latest that we can make a commitment to say yes or no? Because let's say things change in the summer. We have family reunion dates that move up, summer band camps or athletic camps. What's that deadline or process? And then what about the waitlisted? So how likely, if we get waitlisted, are we to get accepted?
So I asked for you to notify me by May 1st, whether you're going to attend or not. Okay. Now, the truth is, you don't pay anything. It's free. So if you tell me later that you're not going to attend, then, there's nothing, I can't force you to come if you can't come, right? So whenever you find out, something happens, because things do happen, and I get that. So as long as I know ahead of time, that's helpful. However, in order for me to invite people off of the wait list, I need you to let me know by May 1st. All right. It's a courtesy to other people, so that by telling me no, yes or no by May 1st, it allows me then to invite people from the wait list. All right. So if you tell me yes and then don't come, you just took a spot from somebody maybe from the wait list. All right. So that's where I like that. So that's why I give you a deadline for May 1st so that I can invite from the wait list.
Great.
Basically, from the last couple of years, I'll tell you, I have based on, people not being able to come, even though they were accepted. And I generally put 5 to 10 on the wait list for each content area. Again, it's by content area. I put 5 to 10 on the wait list for each content area. I've been able to accept most of my waitlist people, for the last couple of years. All right. So there's a good chance if you're put on a wait list, there is a good chance that you will be able to, that you will get that acceptance to come. But you may not receive it until after May 1st, after I've heard back from all of the ones that are whether they're coming or not, which is also another thing that I will tell you. If you know before May 1st, definitely I'm not coming, or I am coming, please let us know. As soon as you make that decision, please let us know so that we can make plans for your arrival.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and I've got 3 questions already in the chat or the queue, but feel free to ask, because now is your time. One question says, will applications have a different chance of getting accepted, whether or not the student wants to have a career in that subject area, that area one focus?
I don't know. Can you answer that question, Dustin, based on a committee member that reviews them?
I would say it's all about passion for me. When I read those essays, it's all about what the kids really are passionate about. Because maybe I had gifted students that are interested in everything. And I said, well, that's great, but you got to make us feel like you're in love with that subject area, especially if I'm grading for a specific subject area. So that's how I would answer it. But I would say it has no bearing on it if you have passion in that subject.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you have to have the reason I say that, I asked Dustin, I don't actually make the decision. So everyone knows I don't make the acceptance decisions. There's a committee of teachers and faculty members from around the state that are selected from each one of the content areas to look at those applications and make those decisions. But like I said, I do listen in to a lot of those discussions that are happening. I don't think you necessarily have to want a career in that field, but I do, like I said, I like what Dustin said, that I think you should at least have passion for that content area.
Does the committee look at when the dates were submitted for the applications?
They do not. The committee does not see the date when it's submitted, other than if it was late. If there's I say that, and now that makes it sound like I accept late applications. There are a few like very limited reasons why I might accept a few late applications, and if that is the case, then I do let the committee know that it was accepted late. But other than that, they do not. As long as it was submitted before January 24th, they will not know when in that time period that it was submitted.
And I think Dr. Lasey does a great job of not penalizing students for maybe things becoming late because of the school, the counselor, the teacher letter recommendation. Students are not penalized. And I think that's really generous of the AGS faculty for doing that. So thank you, Dr. Lasey, for taking that into consideration, which leads me to another question. Can a letter of recommendation be from a teacher from a different school that they attend? So for example, a student had a teacher previously at 4+ years ago. They moved and the new teacher is now virtual through a college program, and they would prefer the previous teacher to make the letter of recommendation. Is that possible?
I think that's definitely possible. Now, I'm going to caution you in that I think the committee is going to would rather see something a little bit more recent than 4 years ago, right? So I think they're going to want to see, what have you done recently? What is your interest recently? Though I do understand, maybe if you're a virtual, those students, those teachers don't know you as well. So you want somebody that knows you fairly well. I have seen, instances where students have transferred within the last year, and I think it's definitely acceptable to kind of go back and to a previous school a year ago or even 2 years ago. 4 years, it makes me a little bit worried that's a little bit too far away. But I think whoever knows you, whatever faculty teacher knows you the best and can give you give the best recommendation for you.
Okay, clarifying. She whoever asked that question said she taught me for 4 years and moved last year. So this is the first year with a new teacher. Sorry, I probably misread that question, but thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. I think for sure. Yeah, I think if you had, you had them for 4 years and it just recently moved away, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
And I guess we got 2 minutes left. So if there are any other questions or comments, we'll gladly take them. But I want to make sure that kids fill out the application, because when I read those applications, especially community service clubs and organizations, sometimes they say things like, oh, COVID couldn't do anything. I'm like, COVID hadn't stopped you for the last 10 years of volunteering and doing community service. We definitely want you to brag about yourself. So don't be ashamed or afraid or embarrassed by any means to brag about all the great things that you've done for your school and your community or your church or family, whatever it is. Please fill as much as you can of those applications, because we want to make sure we're sending our best applicants to Arkansas Governor School.
I will also mention, since we were talking about the teacher recommendation, double check and make sure that you have the teacher's email correct. so that they can get that link to do the teacher recommendation from you. So like you said, it's heartbreaking for us in the committee when we see a student application that, is missing, pieces, of especially teacher recommendation or that kind of stuff. So you want to check and make sure that the teacher knows that to look for the email, and that the email address that you're entering is correct. So.
Well, I think we answered all their questions, Dr. Lasey. That's
Wow.
great. And it's 8:00. It is wonderful. I want to thank you for giving us your evening on a Tuesday, first day of November. And I definitely want to encourage all of our students and teachers to not procrastinate. It may seem like it's a whole year of the process and whatnot, but it goes by quickly. And every single year I get questions on the day of or the day before the deadline. And I'm like, where have you been? This has been months. It's been open since October 3rd. You saw the website. But please reach out to Dr. Lasey. She is more than willing to answer, and she's very quick in responding. And it is a great life-changing opportunity. So on behalf of Arkansas for Gifted Talent Education, thank you, Dr. Lasey, for giving us your time. And we look forward to seeing the webinars that you're going to be hosting next month for student applications.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share the information with students and with their teachers. So
great. Well, have a great evening. We'll see y'all later.
all
Hope y'all apply.
right. Bye.
All right. See you later.